Hey, what is up, guys? Welcome back. So, I feel like I haven't made a guide video in a very long time. I've been kind of busy recently. You know, I'm no longer able to upload every single day. But I actually just wanted to sit down and make kind of this thing I talked about before. I think I've made 2 videos before talking about like gem upgrades and stuff. But the interesting thing about I think gem like you know, like which gems to keep or which gems to upgrade, or like if this gem is good. It kind of has to depend on, you know, how far you're progressed into the game. So obviously, someone that has just started playing the game like very recently, they can't be too picky about their gems. They have to kind of work with what they have. But then players that have been playing for like, you know, since the beginning of time, they have a lot of like, you know, 6-star gems accumulated and basically only keep the best of the best. For me, I think my gems are pretty good, especially my siphon and pugilist gems. Most of them are actually quite nice. I actually keep a lot of my pugilist gems, but I really shouldn't, because some of them don't really have like the best substats. I actually should sell some of them. But for pugilist or siphon or leech, actually I use all my leech gems. I usually keep all of them, but we're gonna talk about all the gems and kind of you know, what I go through to decide if they're worth keeping. Sometimes I need to upgrade them a bit, and we're going to be doing that all live on video today because it is 20% off, and I have 11 million gold. Yes, I have 11 million gold to use for gem upgrades. So we're going to test out a lot of gems, and I can just kind of show you guys here, like, you know, which gems are worth keeping and which gems are not keepers. So I guess which set should we start with? Now, recently, you might see some 5-star gems, and this is because I haven't really had the time to to manual Dragon Speed 10 every single weekend. I've been actually a little bit busy, so I haven't really been manualing dragons. I used to not get any 5-star gems. If you look at Dragon Speed 10 only drops 6-star gems, and I've basically, when I first started farming dragons, I kind of made a Dragon Speed 10 team. Like I farmed golems for a long time, and then I kind of just wasted my sigils, which is one of my biggest regrets of doing of like anything I've done in the game, which is like I wasted like I don't know how many hundreds, maybe not hundreds, like maybe like 200-300 sigils throughout the course of like a few months where I didn't do any of my dragons. And I think this is tip number 1. You should always use your sigils no matter what, unless you're a very new player. Basically, if you're a player that's able to farm, maybe, you know, if you're able to farm Golem Speed 8, which is, I guess, the beginning of mid-game, so I guess if you're a mid-game player, you can definitely go into, like, Dragon Speed 4, and you can farm this dungeon. It's very easy. It's like a all fire dungeon, and you have a chance to get you know, just throw in some water monsters. They can be a mix of 5 and 6 stars, and they should still be able to do it. I don't have a lot of water monsters, but I guess I can show you a run. Actually, wait, it wouldn't really work to show you a run because I don't really have maybe I use these Indras. These Indras have pretty shitty gems. Well, they have okay leech gems, plus 12 leech gems. Yeah, and they don't even have to be good. I'll use my Mona, and then I'll like throw in the Indras, and then I got nothing else. I have no other good water monster. Well, I do have this water Persephone, but I guess it's not really fair to use her. I'll use a random fire attacker like this fire succubus. Something like this. I think this should work. Yeah, she's got pretty good gems. I'll waste 2 dragon sigils just to show you, but I don't care that much anymore. I used to like care so much about my dragon sigils. But you can before we start upgrading gems, I kind of just wanted to show you guys this. Like if you have some random 5-star units, like the Indras are evil 1, they have like the shittiest stats, and you should be able to manual B4. If I remember correctly, this guy has armor break. You should, and he's an attacker as well. So I would probably just kill him first. Actually, wait, I have attack down. That's actually pretty nice. Let's see if I can put attack down on this. All right, maybe I should have attacked down her first and then like done something else. I have no idea. I don't really know how to do this. I never really farmed this dungeon. But I guess I can abuse my attack down. I guess you just throw in some random water monsters, and then you should be able to like do this relatively easily. Oh shit, she's got a full bar. Ooh, this is gonna hurt. But I did manage to put an attack down on her. Should probably use at least one healer. I didn't use a healer, but I guess I felt like I didn't really need to. Like these Evil 1 Indras have very shitty stats. And if you're farming B8, you should have some much better stats than this. And then the dragon's like really easily nukeable, especially if you have some armor break. Alright, put attack down on him. It's going to do barely any damage with this. Even without attack down, I think... Actually, wait, no. Without attack down, you might be in a little bit of trouble. I would actually try to use like a Water Shelly. Very good monster. Just armor break him and then just nuke him with all your water monsters. Because the Water Shelly has like 100% armor break. If you guys don't know... the dragon has a mechanic where if you get him under 50%, if you go back and look at some of my videos for like my Dragon Speed 10 streams, you'll notice that the dragon has this like very interesting mechanic where he, if he's under 50%, he does this AoE move. So sometimes you can actually just hit him until he's like almost at 50% and then you stop. And then the next turn you like just armor break him and then just kill him in one turn. It's definitely doable, especially if you're running like 4 nukers. So yeah, I got a crit rate gem, you know, resist, recovery. It's not really useful for me, but if you're like an early game player and you're only farming B8, this could be quite a decent gem, especially if it's like a protection set, you know, crit rate, resist. And then the other good thing is you get these essences. You get the essences to summon your djinns. So that's also a very nice nice bonus because the djinns are definitely really strong. So yeah, I'm gonna start upgrading some gems now that I showed you guys that. Took me a little bit of time, but it just I just kind of wanted to show you or give you guys a heads up that if you have a decent water team, it doesn't have to be very good. You can definitely farm Dragons B8. Now you might be thinking like, hey, I'm using Nat 5s, but like if you look at their stats, you'll notice that like Evil 3 like Nat 3s actually have like better stats than Nat 5s. So if you have like an Evil 3 water Mona or like multiples, you just throw them in at 5 stars and then they can like nuke down the dragon relatively easily. Or if you build like a Water Shelly, it's a very nice monster because the Water Shelly is also a farmable monster. So I'm gonna go and just kind of start with the bottom tier, which is like, you know, the reason why I kept these gems is because they're siphon gems, and I've been trying to make like more siphon units to try to use different elements for farming, so I kind of just kept these gems. They're probably just going to be filler gems, and then like until I eventually get a better one, and then I'll like overlap them, so they're not really going to be like used permanently. I just decided to keep them for a while. This one I decided to keep because it was a Pugilist gem with 14% resist, and it's actually quite rare to get any Pugilist gems with resist, so I actually kept this to see if it can give me a little bit more resist. So we're gonna start with life set first, since life set is at the bottom. We'll go through some of these gems and the reason why I kept them. Now, for me, usually I only keep gems with that come with 3 or 4 substats. If they come with 3 substats, most of the substats usually need to be good, or if they're in the life or protection set, they have to have resist for me to keep them. Now, if you're an early game player, you definitely still want resist. Like resist is still probably the best substat you can actually get in the game. So you want to have your resist as high as possible. For most of your units. Like resist is useful for PvP. It's useful for you know, now there's multiple PvP. There's league battles and there's also clan battles. Resist is useful for the titans as well, and resist is useful early on in some golem dungeons. Not really useful in B10. Not really useful in dragon dungeons either. Could be useful if you're trying to farm like later maps like Glacial Plains or Aurora Plateau. They have some very annoying debuffs. So if you don't have like the best farming team, sometimes just having some resist might help as well. There's like a lot of weird like strategies you can use if you have like a high resist monster. So usually I keep gems that have at least you know, one resist substat, and the reason why it's good to keep gems with multiple substats. Now this gem isn't really good by itself, but the thing is, this is a life set gem with HP %, meaning that if I just want the highest amount of HP, then this is definitely the way to go. Plus, it has a resist substat, and it also has a flat HP. So this is very good for gems, for monsters that either have some sort of ability that scales with their HP, or you know, like aggression, like HP aggression and stuff like that. So that's one of the reasons why I kept this gem. Now, usually, I would upgrade these gems. For this gem, because it's a life set with HP %, and it has resist and HP, which is like 2 pretty good substats for this gem, I would actually take this to like +9 maybe, and see if the rolls give me anything good. Now this all of a sudden became like a 50-50 gem, where like 2 of the substats are good and 2 of them aren't. But because this is a life set HP gem with like the 2 substats that I wanted, like the set itself is also very good. You know, the set plus the main stat is the one I want. I'm willing to try to use a little bit more gold to try to see if it can roll into resist or HP. Now, if this rolls into like recovery or defense, I might actually just give this up. I feel it's gem upgrade day. I'm feeling not that unlucky. If it goes into one of these again at +9, I'm probably just gonna give up on this gem. It's just, I mean, I could still keep it and use it on another unit. I guess that could also work. I mean, I could just, I mean, if I already got it to +9, I can slap it on some random Titan unit. But I don't really focus too much on Titans. Like it's really up to you if you want to sell it or keep it. If you keep it, you can just throw it on a random filler unit, because it's definitely no longer like a top tier gem. If it rolls into like defense or recovery at the +9. But if it rolls into resist, it still could be a very good gem. Something that you could use on like arena defense monsters or clan defense monsters, which might require a little bit better substats. All right. See, I was kind of right to give it a chance and let it get to the +9. Now this gem has 14% resist, which isn't like super high, but you know, the rank of this gem kind of just went up a little bit, because it happens to be a life set with an HP gem, and then it has high resist, or doesn't have high resist, but it at least has some resist. You can throw this on like a Titan mon, and it's still better than before. Or you can possibly use this on a arena defense mon. It's a little bit too low tier for whatever I'm using on arena defense, unless the +12 rolls into resist again. But I already know this gem is kind of a keeper. I'll kind of just keep this in my inventory until I really need it. This gem is a resist gem. It's a defense. It's got crit damage, attack, and HP. It's got 3 good substats. If you like, crit damage is also a good substat as well. It's not too bad. At least it's not flat. I think out of all the percent substats, crit damage is, well, excluding recovery, because recovery is kind of like completely useless. Crit damage is probably still better than like flat HP. I would actually take crit damage over like flat HP. It would have been nicer if it was crit rate. So basically this gem, unless you're like extremely unlucky and it all goes into crit damage, which is kind of impossible. Actually, it's possible, but like it's very unlikely. This gem is already a keeper. I don't really need to worry too much about it. It's just it's gonna sit in my inventory until I really need it. This one I kept as well because it had resist, and it was a crit rate gem. I don't really use live crit rate gems, but you never know. I might need to use one in the future. Wait, why do I have this gem? This gem's kind of shitty. This gem's extremely shitty. Let me just get rid of that. No, this is a HP gem with resist as well, but it has a max roll on resist. So I decided to you know, to kind of keep it to try it out and see if I can get lucky. And because there's only 2 chances for it to roll into resist, unless it rolls, if it doesn't give me, if it gives me like 2 more flat substats, I'm just gonna give up completely on this gem. Crit damage is, you know, it's not the best. You got like some defense percent, or crit rate. I think crit rate would definitely be the best roll for this gem now, because it has crit damage. If you can get crit rate, it would be really nice. Alright, this gem is actually pretty nice. It has 3 pretty good substats, and because of the crit rate, you know, if you have a crit rate on your gem, the effectiveness of the crit damage set is actually amplified, because, you know, crit damage only matters if your monster has high crit rate. So basically, having any amount of crit rate will basically make this scale more, if you guys know what I mean. So this gem's kind of, I would probably just keep it. Like that's a pretty okay gem. I'm not really sure who I'd use it for, but maybe I'll have a monster where I need really high HP in the future. This one's a attack gem, but it has crit damage resist and crit rate. I think I'll, like, it's pretty good. I mean, unless it rolls like 4 times into defense, it really can't go wrong. It's another crit rate gem. It doesn't really, yeah, this one's kind of shitty. It has no resist, but it does have defense and HP. So I was thinking maybe I can use it for like a really tanky monster for certain dungeon runs. Maybe like a solo light tank for Golem's dungeon, but I'm not really too sure. I'm not really too sure what I can use this gem for. I kind of just kept it because I had 4 substats and like 2 of them were good, but it had no resist, so I was kind of iffy about it. But that's pretty much it for life gems. Like what you're mostly looking for on life gem is the HP substat, because the reason why you want to use life gems is usually you're using them on aggressors, usually like, you know, HP aggressors, or monsters that have some sort of scaling in terms of their HP. So you want to, like, you know, just boost their HP pool as high as humanly possible. So like monsters like Shiva, if you ever fuse one of these, or you know, like Dark Cupid, or I can't even find my Dark Cupid, I have no idea where he is. He's over here. Or like Water Purse, you know, she has like a passive heal that scales with her HP. Life gems are very good for that, because you just want to make sure you get that HP pool as high as possible. And you know, if the bread and butter of the monster has it, like, is a skill that like scales with HP, then you want to use a life gem like 90% of the time, unless your life gems are really shitty and you have like no resist at all. Most of the time the life gem is usually better. So yeah, that's pretty much it for life. Protection is kind of it kind of goes in the same boat as life, but protection is mostly for defense aggressors and certain monsters that like has some sort of unique scaling with defense. I'll give you guys an example. Like this Light Siren, she has a shield that scales with her level. So this shield is basically a flat amount once she reaches max level. It doesn't scale harder than anything else. But I actually use her along with like some aggressors in Titans, and they actually survive for like extremely long time and do a lot of damage. And the reason I'm able to do this is because I actually put her on triple defense. Basically just try to get her defense as high as humanly possible. And the good thing about this is, you know, if you're pairing this monster, say for example you're pairing her up with a monster that also has very high defense, you can actually, through this shield, increase the effective HP of that monster a lot more, because defense equals damage mitigation, and the shield is always a flat amount. So the more damage mitigation that you have with the shield added on top would actually give you higher effective HP. So she's just one example. There's some monsters that have something similar. I from the top of my head I can't really think of anything else, but mostly it's for aggressors. Like mostly the protection set is mostly for aggressors, and certain like Titans monsters like debuffers that you want to basically make a little bit tankier. these gems are very, very nice for doing that. So like if you happen to have some like protection gems with like a lot of resist, you can put a protection set together for your debuffers for Titans, and that's actually very, very good. So it's kind of used for those three purposes. Either a monster that has like some sort of you know, maybe the monster has like a flat heal that scales with defense. Is there such a monster? I can't even remember. You know, like a protection set might be a little bit better for those monsters. And for defense aggressors, definitely it's the best, because more defense equals more damage, also equals more damage mitigation, which in turn gives you you know, higher HP and stuff. So that's definitely really, really nice. So yeah, if you're trying to like judge the quality of defense gems, it's kind of the same thing. I like to, you know, at my point of the game, I usually just keep gems with more than 2 substats. Recently, I've been keeping a few recovery gems that have resist, especially if they're on the protection, life, or conviction set. And that's mostly because I started raising some healers for Titans, and the recovery gem is actually kind of decent for healers. You can gem them full tank, you can put them with 1 recovery. I think in certain cases, like having that 1 recovery gem could actually be better, especially if you're pairing that monster up with like another nuker or you know, another bruiser type monster, and then you just want to keep that monster alive as much as possible. The recovery gem will make the heals heal a little bit more. It's mainly for teams where, you know, you're not running like full tanks. Because in Titans, it's mostly the way you get like really, really high damage is if all your units stay alive and constantly deal damage to the Titan. So you kind of just want to make sure they're like almost just as tanky as each other. So there's no point having one monster that's like extra tanky, because all that monster is going to do is like it's going to stay alive to the end and then just kind of stay alive for 1 more turn after your debuffers die, because like, you know, nothing can tank the Titan for a lot of turns, especially without putting on like, you know, attack debuff or like, you know, putting up like defense buff or shield and stuff like that. So sometimes there's no point making your healers like extremely tanky, so just having 1 recovery gem actually provides a little bit more bonus to those healers. So that's actually one use of the recovery gem, but it's very, very niche, so it's really up to you. Like you can pretty much like completely sell all your recovery gems and it really won't hurt you too much. But if you're trying to you know, maybe get into like really late game Titans. I'm not really late game as well. Like I don't really do Titans that much. I mostly do like speed farming. Sometimes some PvP. I do like PvP a bit. My clan's mostly PvP based as well. So yeah, you know, I keep a few recovery gems that could possibly be good for certain healers. But for other gems, it's the same thing as life gems. You want to, first of all, you want to make sure they have as much substats as possible, because, you know, you get more chances to roll into stats like resist. But if you're starting early on, it doesn't really, you can't really be that picky. You just kind of have to make use of what you got. So yeah, I don't think I need to upgrade protection gems to show you guys. Like it's the same thing as life gems. I kind of treat them in the same category, but one is for like monsters that scale with HP or HP aggressors. One is for other monsters that scale with defense. And the really good thing, like you might think that the value of life gems are higher than protection because they're usable for more monsters, but protection actually has one other use besides like it has one extra bonus that the life gem cannot provide, and you can actually search through this. There's a website called MSL Nest. It's made by, I think it's made by someone on Reddit. They basically have the stat calculations for all types of gem sets on the monster to calculate the highest effective HP, and you'll find that for 90% of the monsters, the absolute highest effective HP is on a HP defense set on the protection set. So basically an monster gem with HP defense on life versus protection. The monster gemmed on the protection set actually has higher effective HP than the monster gemmed on the life set. So that's also one of the value that the protection gem provides. But there's really no use in making your monster like that tanky. I don't think there's anything in the game that requires your monsters to be like extremely tanky. So it's kind of not that useful, but I guess it's still pretty good. But yeah, moving on. This is the conviction gem. I think convictions are the most versatile. I can't even say that word. Versatile. Yeah, versatile. God damn it, I can't. It's my Achilles heel. All right. There's just sometimes there's like these one or two words in the dictionary where you can't pronounce properly. That's my Achilles heel. All right. But yeah, the conviction gem is you can kind of use this for mostly anything because of how useful resist is. Like resist is definitely one of well, it's the main substat in the game. But you'll notice that nobody actually uses, like, I kind of just wanted to bring this topic up a bit. You'll notice that nobody actually uses like resist on the main stat, and that's mainly because you can actually max out on resist. Like the maximum amount of resist is 85, and most monsters come with a base of 20% unless they're light and dark. So having an actual, like, having a resist main stat kind of goes above, like, you know, the cap, and it's basically a waste of stats basically. So you kind of don't want to use resist on the main substat. It doesn't really help you that much. But I think but that's also one of the reasons why conviction is so good. It's because it gives you 20%, which kind of won't put you over the cap. You kind of have to still put together some substats in order to reach that maximum amount of resist. But you don't have to waste a main stat doing that. So that's why the conviction set is very, very good for most of everything, because of how important resist is. Like conviction can be used for pretty much anything. Like if you want to use an offensive conviction set, it actually works as well, because sometimes on arena offense, you know, the enemy has like really annoying debuffs, and your attackers, like, even if you're gemming something with like crit rate double attack or triple attack, having a conviction set to like resist certain debuffs could be really, really nice. Like sometimes the 20% could help really, really well. But it's mostly for if you have like really good substats, like to push for like 100% crit on a conviction set with a dark monster, then I would definitely still do that. Like it's very, very good for like arena offense for attackers. It's very good for titans, because, you know, you want your debuffers or healers or whatever tanky monsters to not take debuffs. You know, sometimes some of the titans have like really annoying debuffs like seal, sap, stuns, you know, just all types of crazy shit that you want to avoid. So conviction definitely helps with that as well. Conviction is also very, very good for monsters to use on arena defense, because, you know, it's just master resist, and then, you know, if the enemy tries to go at you with like stunners or armor breakers and stuff, they really can't, because of how high your resist is. So it makes their debuffs unreliable, which sometimes can help you win a fight. So resist is definitely like kind of one of the most important things in the game, and it also makes conviction a very, very good set all around. So for conviction gems, usually for me now, I usually only keep the ones with resist. I think for you guys, if you're in the mid game, I would actually recommend you keep all conviction gems that have like the right main stat, because if you think about it, if you're at the point where you don't really have a lot of gems and you can't really care too much about the substats, then just having a resist, like having a conviction set put together, already gives you 20% extra resist. You know, you don't have to try to get that from substats. So like if you have like a 3 substat conviction gem and they're not like all flat, I would still recommend you keep it. Or if you have like a 4 substat one, and they're not all flat, and, you know, and they don't have resist, but it doesn't have resist, I would still keep it if you're in the mid game. I think those are still kind of valuable, because you can just put together a conviction set and, you know, still get that 20% bonus. So that's actually a very, very very nice. I don't even know what the fuck I'm gonna say. It's just nice. All right, 20% resist is nice. That's all I have to say. Like, what do you want me to say about it? Just the 20% resist is good. Vitality, I kind of really don't keep. I don't like using these gems, but I don't like using the flat gems. But I sometimes keep them if they have like very good substats. Like this one has 27% resist and 13% crit rate. It's an HP gem with high HP as well, and you know, so I just kind of keep this for broken sets. Most of the time, vitality gems I use for broken sets. Now this is something a little bit of a disclaimer, or I guess a recommendation for you guys, especially if you guys are. I don't even know what to call it. It's just I see a lot of people using like, you know, trying to put together a set. I've been doing some account reviews like before, and a lot of people make the mistake. I could probably call it a mistake of using a set, and like they have to have a set on every single one of their monsters, and that actually hurts their monsters. Because if you think about it, you know, these bonuses like the 20% attack or the 20% resist. You can easily get a gem like this, like, you know, on the vitality set with like 27% resist. So basically this is like if you had a conviction gem and you had on that conviction gem, it gave you 7% extra resist. Like it's basically as much value. And it could potentially be even higher value because it's easier to get high resist on any set than it is to be limited only to the conviction set. So, you know, potentially I could use this gem with another gem of any other set that has high resist, like, you know, maybe some of these have some decent amount of resist. Like this one, for example, like this one only has 9% resist, but if you think about it, that gem has 27% resist plus the 9%. Like this already like way outweighs the bonus of the conviction. So you don't always have to put together a set. Sometimes like these gems are like the flat gems or the recovery gems, like vitality set or ferocity and fortitude and tenacity set. Sometimes they're worth using, especially if you have gems with like very high resist rolls or very high crit rolls when you're trying to like get a monster to 100% crit. There are some certain monsters that are crit reliant, like, you know, for example, like the Light Medusa, who basically her stun only activates on crits and her elemental edge only activates on crits. Same thing with like Mona, for example, like, you know, her morale boost only activates on crits. Her Hunter increases critical hit damage, so if you don't crit, this thing does no bonus. So there are monsters where you want to try to get your crit as high as you possibly can. So sometimes using like a broken set can help with that as well. A good example is my Dark Thor. I put him on 100% crit, and the way I did this is basically just because I had a 15% crit on this one, and then a 21% crit, and then I just, you know, put them together, and this gave me, you know, 100% crit. So that's definitely one of the you know, definitely one of the good things about using. Wait a minute. Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. That's exactly 100%. I was like trying to calculate. I was like 21 plus 15 plus 54 plus 10. All right, that's 100%. But yeah, you know, sometimes just using a broken set is very good. You can actually get much better stats, like the stats that you desire for specific monsters by using a broken set instead of you know, forcing it into a set, forcing your monsters into a set. Sometimes that's not too beneficial for you. So yeah, that's pretty much it for like vitality and tenacity and fortitude. Basically, for these gems, I'm a lot more strict. They have to have like very good substats for me to use them, and I'll only use them in a broken set. There's no reason to try to put the bonus together for like an extra 150, you know, attack or like 150 defense or like, you know, 25k HP. Like trying to squeeze that together is not really worth it. You're better off using like a protection or a life set in that case. So I mostly use those gems only for broken sets. Yeah, this is Valor. Now Valor is I think it's a pretty valuable set, and the reason why Valor is pretty good. It's not as good as Ruin. Like Ruin's definitely the best offensive set, but Valor actually is like I would rate a step up above Intuition. But Intuition still has its value. I'll kind of explain this a little bit, like for the offensive gems. Now Intuition gives 20% crit, right? Ruin gives 40% crit damage, and then Valor gives 20% attack. Now this is also true for like the Colossus gems as well, like the ones that give extra attack and stuff like that. You can kind of put them in the same boat. Like you can kind of treat them as the same as the Valor set, or the one that like gives extra defense and sacrifices attack, and treat them the same as the protection set. But you know, to be honest, nobody farms Colossus anyways. But the reason why I would say Valor's a step up above Intuition, not that Intuition is less valuable than Valor, but Valor is still a step up above Intuition, because Intuition gives you the 20% crit rate. Now, with good enough substats from your gems, it's possible like to get 100% or near 100% crit rate on a Valor set. And the way you do that is, you know, the reason why you want to do that is because the Valor also gives 20% extra attack, which means that if you add that 20% on top, it gives you that, like, you know, just tiny little bonus you need that could be valuable in certain cases, like in arena offense, where you might, like, that 20% extra damage could be life or death. Sometimes in Dragon Speed 10, you know, having an extra bonus attack, I think this is kind of only valuable if you have it like across the board for like all your monsters. You know, having that extra attack can sometimes like kill that dragon in certain situations. If you're curious about that, you can always go back and look at my stream archives. When I'm doing dragon runs, you'll see that like sometimes the dragon's like 5% away from death, and if you had like a Valor on one of your attack units, you might have been able to kill the dragon or something like that. So Valor is a step up above Intuition, because you know you can still basically get 100%. Like if you can get 100% crit rate on a Valor set, then there's no point in using the Intuition, because the Intuition only just gives crit rate. It doesn't really give anything else. But the reason why Intuition, I would say, is still like not any less valuable than Valor is because it's much easier to gem a monster up with Intuition and give them 100% crit rate than if you were to use Valor, because all you really need to do for 100% crit rate on Intuition is you need 1 crit rate gem, and for your other 2 gems, they need to have a combined total of 3 rolls into crit rate. If you have 2 perfect rolls into crit rate, you'll have 99% crit, which is kind of tilting, but it's kind of the way it is. Like it's pretty dumb, but you know, sometimes, like, you know, the 99% crit kind of tilts me sometimes. I had my Thor and Victoria on 100 or 99% crit until I eventually decide to switch them and give them a much higher crit rate. Because you know, there are certain skills where like you want to have like maximum reliability, so you want to have like 100% crit, but it's very easy to get 100% crit on monsters that need it using the Intuition set, because all you really need is you need 1 gem, or like basically you have a crit rate gem, right? And your other 2 gems need to have a combined total of 3 rolls into crit rate. Now these rolls can be like low rolls, like 6.5%, or like 7.5%, like high rolls. It doesn't matter, as long as it's 3 rolls, you will have over 100% crit. So that's why Intuition is still very valuable, because you can easily get your monsters to 100% crit using Intuition. Now the other reason why Intuition could be valuable is if you have a monster that has no square slot, and the monster requires crit, then having an intuition set will give you that 20% crit. And if you happen to have very, very good substats, it is potentially possible to push to 100% crit on those monsters using like, you know, 3 attack gens or something like that. So that's also one of the other uses of intuition. I've been working on this project. I'm kind of short 1 gem. I kind of need like a 3-roll crit rate gem, and I'll be able to do something with basically putting one of my monsters on like triple attack, but using the intuition set, and still have like 100% crit. But it's gonna take a bit. It's gonna take a little bit to be able to pull that off. But yeah, that's pretty much it for intuition versus valor. A step up above valor is definitely ruin. The reason you can go to MSL Nest again and take a look at the overall damage calculation or the DPS of your monsters. It's not really DPS in this game. It's damage, not damage per second, but damage per turn of like average damage per turn of your monsters. Ruin, because of how it gives 40% extra crit damage instead of like 20%, it basically makes it the most effective gem in terms of like overall damage dealt from your monsters, if you have over 80% crit. But there are certain cases where, like, I'm a pretty big advocate of 100% crit on a lot of like dark attackers or stuff. I think the 100% crit, especially like on arena offense, sometimes if you don't crit, it can really just cost you a fight. It can really make you just completely lose that fight. So I'm a pretty big advocate of like 100% crit, but you know, ruin definitely does have its uses where if you have certain like, you know, damage dealing monsters and you don't have you have some ruin sets with a bit of crit rate substats, then those gems are still worth using, because you can actually get higher DPS on your monsters using the ruin set. And you know, if you want to like have the ultimate nuker, then you can also put them like the absolute highest damage would be like 100% crit monster on like the ruin set. That would be like the highest tier. But you know, it's kind of hard to put those together. I mean, I do have one, but I have it on a light monster, because light monsters come with a 20% extra crit rate. Although if I had I think I might have another crit rate ruin. Yeah, I can actually use I do have a set where I can get like, if I steal this gem, I can put 100% crit on a ruin set, on a non-light monster as well. So that's also something I could do. But yeah, it's mostly just to increase your damage as high as possible. Like basically, it goes from intuition up to valor up to ruin. But you know, intuition isn't necessarily as bad as valor. If you want to compare DPS between like a monster on triple attack on valor versus triple attack on intuition, the DPS of the triple attack valor monster is actually higher than the intuition one. But it's also relative to substats, because you can also have very, very low substats on your valor set, and then like really high crit rate subs on your valor, and then like really low crit rate subs on your intuition, and then the valor would win out, or the other way around. It kind of just depends on like what other substats that you have, like mostly the crit rate, because crit rate's the kind of the main substat that can really amplify your DPS of your monsters. But yeah, that's pretty much it for ruin. Like there's not too much to really talk about this. It's higher efficiency, but this efficiency is only useful on crits. So if you can't get really high crit rate, then the bonus of the ruin set is kind of useless. So ruin sets are kind of just basically, nowadays, if they don't have crit, I throw them away. Like it's unusable. Like ruin. I have very old ruin gems that I've upgraded like very early on in the game, and they don't have a lot of crit rate, and I kind of just use them on some filler monsters like what have I been using? Like on this wild thing. Like, this is a pretty shitty gem. I don't know why I upgraded that. I can't even remember where that gem came from. But this one has like 30% resist, so I guess I can use this as a broken set gem as well. But it doesn't have a lot of crit. I mean, potentially I could get another. It's still decent as a ruin set. And this one has like crit rate resist, so I kind of just like use them on like some filler monsters. The shitty ruin gems that don't have very high crit rate. But the only substats that matter on ruin gems are the crit substat. If you want to have a good ruin gem, they need to have high crit, and that's pretty much it. So yeah, basically I only keep the gems with crit rate substats, and mostly attack gems. I do like using attack ruin. Yeah, I had a lot of gold prepared to upgrade gems, but you know, this is mostly theoretical. I'm not really upgrading too many gems. Not a lot of them are really worth upgrading. Moving on, these are the dragon gems. These you can only get from Dragon's Dungeons. And Dragon Dungeons, you have to farm Dragon Sigils on extreme mode, and you have like a very low chance to get Dragon Sigils, and it costs 2 Dragon Sigils per Dragon run to get these gems. So my rules for these, like, this is for myself, by the way. You guys can have completely different rules depending on where you are in the game. But for leech gems, for me, I keep all my leech gems. Like, as long as they're not flat, I keep every single one, even if they have really shitty substats. And the reason why I do this is because I usually just slap them on my random like Courageous Strike units. I don't really. Wait, what's this one? Defense. I think I stole this gem from him. Yeah, just let me give him his gem back. But yeah, for leech gems, it's very nice to use on Courageous Strike units. And you know, although they're not like the highest tier gems, I usually just upgrade them to plus 12, and I put them on my random like Nat 5s that I summon from time to time that happen to have Courageous Strike. If you guys don't know this, like, Courageous Strike is completely overpowered. Like, there is no contest between a monster that doesn't have, like, this is for Titans, by the way. But there's no contest between a monster that doesn't have Courageous Strike versus a monster that does. Like, the Courageous Strike is really OP. Like, it literally does, like, you know, 4 to 5 times extra damage because of that one skill. So yeah, Courageous Strike is insanely OP for Titans only for Titans. But like, it's worlds apart. Like, the damage potential of a monster with Courageous Strike versus a monster that does not is just worlds apart. So the other good reason is to put Leech Gem on them is because they do so much damage to the Titans that they actually heal a lot off of the Leech. So basically, like, you know, if they hit the Titan, they basically like heal back half their HP bar a lot of the times. And if you pair that up with a healer, they're basically like, you know, max healing every single turn. And you want to keep those Courageous Strikers like alive as long as possible so they can do as much damage. So the Leech Gem is actually really nice. So I basically just keep them no matter how shitty the substats. I just use the Leech Gems and I just slap them on my random Courageous Strikers. Like, these monsters I have not spent any resources into. I basically only leveled them to max level. I didn't bother getting them to Evil 2. I didn't get them to 6 stars or anything like that. And they're already doing a lot of damage to Titans. So if you have some like random Nat 5s laying around that have Courageous Strike, I recommend you just gemming them up. They don't have to have like the best gems, but like just some random plus 12 gems. Put them on like defense, HP, attack. And then just throw them into Titans, and they'll do way more damage than your like 6-star fully gemmed damage dealers, because the Courageous Strike is just so OP. And yeah, that's pretty much it for Leech. Like, I usually only use them for Courageous Strikers. They have no other use besides the Courageous Strikers, but I kind of just slap them on Courageous Strikers. I think that gem belongs to somebody else. Is it this defense gem? Is it HP, attack? Yes, it's this defense. I usually gem the Courageous Strikers HP, attack, defense. The attack and HP gives them the highest effective HP, and then the attack also, like, Courageous Strikers also scale very well with attack. You might think, like, you know, since they have this, it doesn't really matter how high their attack is, but they actually have a pretty good scaling with attack. So you can actually get, you know, you can get really high damage. This might not be the optimal way. I don't know that much about Titans, especially like if this monster was 6 stars max level, it could possibly be better to go like, you know, double attack, or I don't know, crit rate attack or something. I'm not really sure. I haven't done that much experimenting, but you really can't go wrong with HP attack defense. Like you just can't. HP attack defense will just work 100% of the time. So you just like slap these on random courageous strikers. They don't have to be like Evo 2, Evo 3. Like they can just be Evo 1, like random 5 stars. Get them to max level and just like throw them into Titans. It will work. So yeah, that's mainly the use for leech gems. I don't care about substats. I just use whatever I have. I keep all that I have, and I just slap them on random courageous strikers. Like if I summon another one, I'll just slap on three leech gems, and then you know that monster will be much better than a lot of like, you know, other non-courageous strike damage dealers. So yeah, that's pretty much it for those. Moving on to Siphon, my favorite set. Now, if you guys don't know what Siphon does, Siphon just makes your monsters a insane farming machine. You guys probably have seen my fire gen before. Just like this is my spirit animal. All right, like if any monster was to represent me in Monster Super League, this would be the monster. I actually cleaned this guy up really early. Might as well use this chance to like kind of show it off. I'm building a second one because they're just so good. One of the other reasons to also make sure to use your dragon sigils and do dragons, because fire gen is so good. The reason why I use, oh my god. The reason why I use Fire Gen with Siphon is because, you know, they already have HP Siphon on first skill. And then the Siphon basically makes it so he gets a full bar. And then when he nukes with his AoE, he basically will Siphon. Like this whole entire team is on Siphon, by the way. You'll see them get their bar full, like, after every single run. And basically, you know, Siphon is based on the damage, the percent damage dealt to the enemy, and then it will give you SP back based on that. So the reason why Siphon is so good is it makes your farming speed so damn fast, because you basically you just go in, you hit them once, you get a full bar, and then once you get your AoE off, since you're hitting like 4 targets, you're gonna be siphoning your whole entire bar full, like every single time. So that's why Siphon is so nice. And yeah, that's the main use of Siphon. It's just to up your farming speed. Like it just makes it so your monsters get their bar full faster. Siphon is only really useful in farming. It's not really useful in PvP or in Titans or in anything else. The reason for that is because it's not based on the damage dealt to the enemy. It's based on the damage based on the percent of damage dealt to the enemy. So say for example, the enemy has a like you hit him once and you bring him exactly from 100% to 0. Siphon will steal 40% of that. So basically, if you bring the enemy from 100% to 0, you will get an SP bar of 40%. Like you'll regain an SP bar of 40%. But if you can also overkill the monster. So that's why this is so good for farming. Is because if you overkill the monster, that extra bonus damage is added on top of your Siphon as well. So say for example, you use a monster and then you hit another monster that you do so much damage to that monster that you basically it would be the equivalent of completely bringing that monster from 100% to 0, and then like to overkill it by 100% of its HP, then you would get 80% of the SP back. And this is also true for AoEs. So if you're nuking multiple units, from each unit, you know, that you bring from 100% to 0, you would be stealing 40% of the SP back. But this is also one of the reasons why it's not very useful in PvP, because you're not gonna like one-shot someone from 100% to 0 anyways, and if you do, you pretty much already win the fight, so it's kind of pointless. So like Siphon's not really all that useful in PvP because of the way Siphon works. But it's very useful in farming, especially if you have enough damage to like just completely overkill the monster. You'll always get your bar full, and you'll just keep nuking, and then you'll have very fast runs. So that's why Siphon's really nice. I have a lot of units on Siphon, just kind of use them for farming. But yeah, that's pretty much it for Siphon set. For Siphon set, it's basically, as long as it's not flat, you use it, because the attack ones you can use for any attackers. The defense, like Siphon also works with like defense aggressors. So if you have like a defense Siphon set, you can put them on your defense aggressors, or if you have an HP Siphon set, you can put them on an HP aggressor, and that'll also make your farming very fast as well. So that's one of the good things. Like if you're just starting out doing some dragons, you have some Siphon sets, and they're not necessarily attack, you can kind of put them on some aggressors. Now, not everybody has HP aggressors. Like this was from an event before, but I know everybody has the Light Vic. So if you have like a Siphon set you can put on her, she'll do very nice. So she's a really nice monster to have on Siphon. Maybe they're gonna have new aggressors. I'm not too sure. Maybe like the next rebirth or something, they could have new aggressors. But yeah, that's pretty much it for Siphon. There's nothing else too much to talk about it. Now this is the last set. This is the Pugilist set. Now the Pugilist is basically, it gives your monster a 20% chance to stun when it attacks, and this is extremely OP, by the way. Like this is insanely OP in PvP, because the stun, you know how I was mentioning how resist was so, wait, I didn't do my PvP, I'm only in diamond. You know how I was mentioning that that resist is so useful in PvP, like it's so important in PvP. Now, the thing about Pugilist is the stun from Pugilist cannot be resisted. So it doesn't matter how high their resist is, you cannot resist the Pugilist stun. So it makes it really OP. Like my Wood Nightmares on Pugilist, I decided to just kind of show this. We're gonna try to stun this. All right, that didn't stun. We can go again. The C-Star is also on Pugilist. Keep in mind it's only a 20%, but there is a, like, if it does proc, sometimes it's a life and death situation, and you basically like could possibly win just by proccing a Pugilist. But yeah, they're not too good, but like, especially if you have like morale boosters like this is probably gonna stun something. This is definitely gonna stun something. Alright, see, I stunned one of them, and then basically, like, she's a morale booster, so basically she gets her bar faster, and then when she does the AoE, there's a pretty high chance it stuns something, and then there's a possibility that this stun could possibly just, like, you know, completely win you the fight. So that's one of the really great uses of Pugilist, basically just for PvP, especially on defense, because there's really no reliable way to win on defense, but sometimes, you know, through RNG, you can win sometimes in a fight where you normally would not be able to win if you have like a Pugilist set. So Pugilist is, for that reason, is very good. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it for the introduction of Pugilist. Now, the way I keep my Pugilist gems is for now, I'm keeping all of them. The reason for this is because I've been trying to put more monsters on Pugilist set. However, the unfortunate thing is I am not able to get a lot of resist on my Pugilist gems. And you know, resist is still very important, because if you don't have high resist, they can just come in, stun you, armor break you and stuff. So, you know, as you can see, a lot of my Pugilist gems, the ones, at least the ones that I'm not using, don't have very high resist. But some of them do have extremely high resist, like the ones I'm using for my my Dark C-Star, which has a 71% resist from the substats of this Pugilist gem. So yeah, that's I guess it's basically depends on if you can get high resist on your Pugilist gems. You kind of just want to aim for resist, because resist is king in PvP, and Pugilist is like kind of made for PvP. So your Pugilist gems kind of just, you just kind of want to have as much resist as possible on your Pugilist gems. Now, the reason why I've been keeping a lot of my random gems is because I've been thinking of possibly like in the future, if I have a few Pugilist gems that might have like, you know, like 14% 14% resist or something like that, like I could possibly put 2 of those together, and then that would give me like, you know, maybe like 28%, and then plus the normal bonus of monsters, you know, the resist of like RGB monsters, that's another 20%, so maybe I'll have like 48. And then the other good thing is I also have this variant Wood Nightmare, which in PvP or in League, in Astromon League, gives me 24% extra resist. So I can actually use this in combination with certain, like, you know, not as good Pugilist gems, plus the base resist of the normal monsters, and actually I can actually boost the resist of those monsters pretty high. So that's one of the reasons why I'm keeping all my current Pugilist gems for now, especially the defensive ones. I'm also working on trying to get my dark attackers, like my dark offense team, on a full Pugilist. I think it would be really nice if I can maybe, I wonder if I can put her on like, I wonder if I can get her to like near 100% or 100% on Pugilist. That would be so sick. Like if I can get 2 rolls into crit on this, or 2 rolls into crit on this. But I have no good attack. You know what? Let's try it out. Let's try it out. I've been working on trying to get some dark monsters, like, you know, dark offense monsters on Pugilist as well. Maybe I can use a crit lead, and then that would actually boost it to 100%. Ooh, nice! I got 14% on this. That was a +9 roll. I see the possibility. If it gives me a +7 roll on this, there's a possibility. The thing is, like, you know, since a lot of defense teams have Pugilist, I kind of want to put my offense team also on Pugilist to kind of give me a bit of an equal footing. So, you know, and I also have a lot of attack Pugilist gems as well, so I've been trying to make use of them. If I can get a full, like a 100% crit rate Pugilist Dark monster, that would be so sick. I was thinking using this Dark Sierra. Can you imagine if this rolls into crit one more time? It's a pretty low chance, but maybe. We never know. Hold my hand. I haven't done this in a long time. Please hold my hand. Hold my hand and give me good luck. So Tina doesn't fuck me too hard. Need some water. Shit, I'm almost out of water. Oh man, if I can get another roll into crit, that would be so sick. What? Oh, oh shit. Oh shit. 21.5. All right, there we go. Oh shit. Oh, it's going down. Okay, all I need is 7% on this or 7% on this. It's I don't know. I don't believe. Or 7% on this. I have 3 gems that I can try to roll. If it gives me 1 roll into crit, I might be able to do it. Or this is a defense gem. I could go crit attack defense. It's not as good, but it's still usable. Is this the dream? Is this the 100% crit Pugilist? Alright, it's not happening. It's not happening. Alright, it's just gem upgrade from now on. I mean, we got 10 million gold to spend. I'm kind of done with the guide. There's not really anything else to say about this. I kind of went through all the gems. But I'm maybe this excites you as much as it excites me, because I'm trying to put together something special here. Now, you guys think the siphon Dark Sierras are in fashion? I'm gonna start a new trend. The Pugilist Dark Sierra. That gem is so good, you have no idea. Like that gem is insane. The 21.5, I can do so much with that. I can do so much crazy shit with that gem. Like that was a god tier gem though. Like it was born. Like today a god tier gem was born. I just need one roll into crit. It doesn't have to be a high roll. Actually, it needs to be decently high. It needs to at least be 7%. Because I have 21.5, so I need at least 14.5%. Ooh, all right. Okay, this gem already works. But I want to see if I can put a attack gem with crit. That would actually be even better. Wait, this one doesn't have crit. This one has crit. These two are the ones with crit. Do you think I can do it? Just like one roll into crit out of 4 rolls? Please. Please help me make the godly Dark Sierra. I won't be able to raise her until next Monday, but like, because I don't have enough dark stones. But we might be able to see something something really sick. Actually, the one defense on the gem could possibly be good because she's a battle rush unit, right? She's not just an attacker, she's a battle rush unit. So like if she's semi-tanky, it could actually work in my favor. I'm mainly gonna use her in PvP, but I might try to put her on triple attack first. If I can't, I'll use that defense gem. Alright, hold my hand, guys. Hold my hand. Give me your energy. I went to defense. Not the best. Alright, one more chance. One more chance, baby. One more chance. Come on, just give me one roll into crit. We win this game. I think it needs to be at least a 7% roll, or it's not going to work. Oh wait, it might need to be a 7.5% roll. Actually no, I only need 13.5. It needs to be a 7% roll. If it's just a 7% roll, it's enough. I just need a 7% roll into crit. Wait, I think that's enough. That's a 7% roll. Wait, is my math wrong? I think my math might be wrong. Let me Wait. Oh shit, it's only 99%. Oh shit, it's only 99%. My math is so fucking bad. This will give me Oh shit! I think I needed to use the attack gem. Wait, I might have. I still have a chance, right? I mean, this could give me the last roll can go into crit as well. You never know. My math is so fucking bad. I swear to God. Yeah, it's only 99. I guess I probably should have used that defense gem. It might be better than this one. Or maybe I could use the 99%. I don't know. I mean, I have to be extremely lucky for this to roll into crit again. It was sad. That gem already had a low roll on it. Oh, I was 1%. I'm 1% away. I'm so sad. I guess 99 could work. Alright, I went to recovery, as expected. Should I use the defense gem instead? If I use the defense gem, I can get 100% crit. Man, who has all my good crit rate gems? This thing has 13%. It's another 7.5. Oh dang! If only she had 2 square slots, it would have been perfect. All right, this is a bad crit rate gem. I have so many attack squares. Out of all these, I think one of them could give me 14.5. But yeah, crit rate. This one has 9% resist. This one has HP. I guess I'll go with the double attack 99%. If it like fucks me too many times, I'll rip it out and put in that defense percent one. Come on, give me something good. Alright, this gem went to shit. We're using this one then. This one at least has crit damage, right? If I max out this gem, it will give me 54%. Plus the 10%, that's 64. Plus 21.5 is 85.5. And then plus the 13 is 99. Fuck me. Oh god. It needed to be 14.5. I couldn't do it with a 6.5 on one of the stats. It had to be 14.5. Oh, if it was a 7.5, actually no, I would still only be 99.5. It would round up, but it would still not crit sometimes. Maybe I should use this one. Should I go with the defense? I mean, she has a battle rush unit. Or is a 99 good enough? I guess I'll try her with this. I mean, I can do a lot of crazy shit with this gem already. Getting a 2-roll Pugilist is much easier than getting a 3-roll into crit. But anyways, that is pretty much it. That was actually pretty exciting. I'll have it ready like probably by the next Dark Day, and then I'll be able to show off my my Pugilist 99% crit Dark Sierra. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.